Yeah, people will just continue. I'll again start from the beginning for the recording purpose. Okay, I'll quickly start creating a new project from the beginning, from the scratch as usual. We'll create a Maven project. Okay, and here I'm just selecting the web app. We're selecting the web app. Okay, and we have Hyper web project as usual. Yes, we can just look here. The project is created. So once you have that, the first thing, as I told you previously, now you can just create a new folder. Java. Okay. Under that, we'll just create a new package. We'll just try to create a package. Under that, we'll get a sub packages. Hibernate dot model, then DAO. The last one is a servlet. Okay. So that's the thing. So under web app, we have this index.jsp. Okay. So we'll just try to execute this file. We'll just try to execute this file so that the project has been created successfully or not. We'll just cross verify that. Yeah. So I'm getting this output. Yeah. So after this, the Hibernate stuff. Okay. You need to add the dependencies. You need to add the dependencies from the Maven repository, the MySQL connector, then the Hibernate core. Okay. So these two dependencies we are added. Mhm. So next, as I told you, we'll create a register.jsp file. Okay. Before that, we need to have the Hibernate configuration file. We just require the Hibernate configuration file. It should be under src main resources. 3036, right? 3306 slash hyper fab. Yeah. Okay. So next, just add this SBM to TDL dot auto. So create. Okay. So this is the one. So next, we'll create a register.jsp file, is it not? Register.jsp JSP file. Yeah. So title will be customer registration. So register.jsp. I'm just giving a link to this. Okay. So customer registration. So this should open that index.jsp. Okay, customer registration. So it is taking here, is it not? So the register.jsp, I'm just trying to give some CSS. I'll just try to give the CSS. Okay. Two, two, two. Just try to give the CSS for the register.jsp in the head section. Yeah. Style. Okay. So this I'll just make it as a div, which should be closed. Okay, so we just created a customer CSS. We just applied the CSS. This is fine. So now we'll create a new servlet here. You need to create a new servlet. Okay, registration servlet. When you click on this form, it should take you to registration servlet. Okay, so for that we have this particular package, servlet package. So new servlet. The class name will be registration servlet. The class name will be registration servlet. Yeah, I'll change the Java version also. Okay, so there were some errors, right? So that errors are gone now. Hmm. So in case if you get error, you go to the suggestions to add the servlet API, the servlet API jar file, or we can also add that to the pom.xml. Just a minute. What I did was property. This we added. So I'll remove that. If we just remove that, I'm again. So the problem in the Maven repository, I'll just try to add the servlet API jar file. In case if you're getting that servlet error, you need to add the jar files. Okay, this one. So now I'll just go to the servlet. Yeah. So in that case also that error is gone. Instead of because it's a web app Maven project, na. Instead of adding that in the build path, I just added to the form.xml file. Form.xml file. So this part, this dependency. Okay. So while we create a servlet, if you're getting a error, hmm, I don't know what is this. Okay, let it be. Yeah, I think now. Now. So, Yes. So once you create this form, right, the next step is we need to create a model class. We need to create a model class. Then we need to create a DAO class and then the servlet. Before servlet, we need to create a model and DAO. Okay. Yes. So we'll just first of all we'll create a model class, people. So it's for customer, is it not? So we'll create a model class, new. Okay. So name of the class should be customer. So we should have the fields equivalent to whatever you have in the form. Okay. Whatever we have in the form. So we'll use this XML configuration. In this case, we'll use XML configuration. We'll use the XML configuration. Okay. ID, username, password, email, phone, and city. So we'll generate a constructors and then get as an sellers. Then we'll generate a get as an sellers. So we'll use the XML configuration. Okay. In this case. Next, we'll create a DAO class. We'll just create a DAO class. So ID, username, password, email, phone, and city. If you just see in this file, username, password, phone, email, and city. So this much. Okay. So ID will be generated automatically. ID will be generated automatically. That's why you don't have a field for that. ID will be generated automatically. That's why we don't have the field for that. So next we'll create a DAO class. So new class. The file name should be customer DAO. The file name will be customer DAO. So this should be the naming conventions you need to follow. Customer DAO. Okay. DAO, data access object. So here what you'll be writing, you'll be writing the code for the Hibernate. Okay. So this is the DAO layer. As the name itself tells, this is a DAO layer. So what we are just trying to use, we'll try to use your Hibernate stuff. Here we'll be using the Hibernate. This will connect with the database. This will connect with the database. Okay. The DAO, customer DAO. Okay. So here we'll write one method. We have one method called as add customer details. Okay. So this method is taking username, password, email, phone, and city. Okay. So these stuffs. So we're just creating a configuration object. So make sure that you import the Hibernate dot same whatever we have done previously. Okay. Session factory is also from Hibernate. From Hibernate. Transaction is also from Hibernate. Customer from the model. Okay. Hibernate exception. So from this. So what is this? The same code, but it is a part of a method. What have we done previously, na? Same code, but we are writing a method here. Add customer details, which will accept username, password, and all those things from the servlet. From the servlet, you'll be calling this. You understand the flow? From the request, what is the request? Index dot register dot JSP. From that to servlet, servlet to DAO, servlet to DAO. DAO will interact with the database again. We'll get the details back. Okay. So configuration, session factory, you're opening, creating a session, beginning the transaction, we're creating a new customer object. Yeah. What happens here? We're setting the values. We're calling the setter methods with the values of what? Whatever you have passed. Whatever you have passed. So next, we need to create a servlet. Is it not? We need to create a servlet. So registration servlet. It should be under registration servlet. We already created that. Yeah. Under do get. Under do get, we need to write the code. Okay. So it's the same logic. Whatever we have learned previously in servlets, same we're just trying to implement. We're getting the details from the form using request dot get parameter. Username, password one, email, phone, and city. Okay. Then we're getting HTTP session for this thing. And we are importing this DAO. We're creating an object of a DAO. And here we are calling that. What is this? This is a method of the customer DAO. Just now we created. And for that, you're passing username, password, email, phone, and city. From where you're getting that? From the form. We're getting that from the form and storing it in these fields. We're getting that from the form and we're storing in these fields. And now we are creating an object of custom and we are calling that add customer details. Okay. So username, password, email, phone, and city is passed. So that is taken here in the customer DAO. You can just see here. And here we are connecting with the help of setter methods. Got it? So registration servlet. So if there is any error, it will throw an error. So we need to create one JSP file with the name success. Okay. So we'll just try to create a JSP file with the name success. Just a message it will display. That's all. All done? Anything left? Anything left? Anything left out? Is it done? Can I execute? Sure. We require a mapping file. We require a mapping file because we are using XML configuration, is it not? We don't have any mapping file. What we have? We only have an a.cfg.xml, but we don't have the mapping file. Why? Because I'm using this Hibernate with what? XML configuration. So we require a mapping file, class mapping file. Okay, for the customer. So I'll right click on resources, new, Hibernate mapping file. Okay, add class. I'll try to implement that customer. Yes. Next, next, getting error. So I'll remove that. I'll create an empty and Hyper Web SRC main resources. What should be the name? Customer, right? Customer.hbm.xml. So this is a mapping file for that. So here you need to write the mapping stuff. So make sure that you are here only. It should be under resources. It should be under resources. It should be under resources. Okay. So Hibernate dot, sorry, customer dot It's same, whatever you are given there in the previous case. Only thing is the package you should be changing. Model. Okay, here it should be this. com.sidac.training.hyperweb.model dot customer. A new table with the name customer will be created. So here also we have an ID, and just look here. This is the one change we are doing. The previous case, what we are given? Assign. The as example we are given assign. Now here it will be creating automatically identity. Okay. Property name equals username. You're specifying the data type. It is not mandatory. You could have specified only this much. It's enough. Okay. But I want it as string. Specifying data type. Column name username. Column name password. I'll remove this one. Let it be only password. Okay. This is purposely I'm just giving one. Okay. It's not mandatory. You just give what? One. So in the model class also what we are giving? Password 1. So same way we are just specifying it as password 1, email, phone, city. Okay. So it is same similar thing. The generator class is identity. You are not setting the values for the ID field. Okay. And make sure that this name should be same of what? Your model class. Whatever you specify here, na, that should be same of your model class. Username, password 1, email, all those things. Otherwise, it will throw an error. And that should be what? The set as an Garrus for this. This should be set as an Garrus. So what next? Finished? Shall I run the code? So in the Hibernate, you need to specify the mapping file. Is it not? So mapping resource equals customer dot hbm dot xml. Customer dot hbm dot xml. This. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So now I'll go to index.jsp. From there, I need to run customer registration. Okay. So username James. It was not saved on the server. That's why. Okay. So when you do get this, stop the server. Try to stop the server. Okay. Stop the servers and just try to clean. Right click and clean. Okay. Then again start the server. Again we'll just try to run it. Okay, there is. I think there is no mapping. It's mapping is there. Yeah, I think the problem is with the mapping file. I suppose. Let's see that. Illustrations. It was working, no, that time also. It's going to registration survey. Let me restart. Just a minute. The problem of Tomcat, okay? All these things will come because of Tomcat. Yeah, now it is moving. Yes, customer enrollment done successfully. So what was happening is the problem with the Tomcat server only. First case, just look. This is the problem with the Tomcat. It was just showing the initial. Later we added. Now that was showing served at. Okay. So customer enrollment done successfully. Hyper web. There's a new hyper web, right? Okay. It's because of create. Yeah, it should create. Table should be created. MySQL. Huh? No, if that was an issue, now it will show that. 1 minute. Yeah, we're getting an error. We'll see that. Yeah, we're getting an error. We'll see that. Cannot get a connection as driver manager is not properly initialized. MySQL file. Malform database URL. Yeah, one more thing I just want to tell people. You should have the habit of reading the error messages what you get in the console. Clear it will show the error messages. Okay. Selling malform database URL. Fail to pass the main URL sections. You go to the last, go to console, maximize your console, go to the last error and see the actual messages here. Okay. So it clearly tells there's a problem in the this. Yeah. Can you tell me what is error here? This one, huh? It's not required, right? MySQL colon, right? Hyperweb. So it was pointing to this. Okay. So we'll run it again. And that logic I need to implement properly. It was giving successful added. Okay. We should have given what? The error page. Unable to create requests. Hibernate. What should be the errors? Not read it. HTTP is required, right? Localhost? Yeah. That was the issue. Yeah, MySQL is the driver, right? Yeah, that's the issue. Yeah, this is an issue. HTTP is not required. We're not browsing the web. Table hyperweb dot customer does not exist. Yeah, again problem with the this. Any issues here? Correct, no? So all these things will happen while developing the web application. Right, clear, 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 this slide. Table hyperweb dot customer means the table is not created. Okay. Where? Mapping file. Which one? Here, that is not an issue. What is ID? Is it ID only? ID is custom. Okay, that's clear. MySQL 5. Yeah. So from the form, we are able to now add. Just look at all the silly errors. The version MySQL 5. It was getting a problem. So just look here. ID is generated. All the details, whatever entered, it's coming here. We'll enter one more details here. Again, we'll just go to. Okay, so I'm just adding one more information, one more customer's information. So that details also will be added. Naveen. Okay. So it was same whatever I did yesterday, same step. Only problem we faced was because of Tomcat. Okay, it was pointing to the previous file. I restarted and refreshed it. Then it was proper. You may get some errors. Okay. See the console. If you see the console, they'll find out the errors properly. And that version, make sure that is MySQL 5 for automatic creation of tables. Just by MySQL, it was not creating the table. So make sure that it will be MySQL 5. These are the points you just remember thing. So what is the flow here? Register.jsp. From that it will take you to, yeah, from index.jsp it will take you to register. You have a form. We are going to registration servlet. Here we are just going to registration servlet, which we created. So from registration servlet, we are fetching the values, whatever you entered in the form, and storing it in these fields. We're creating a new session and we are creating an object of what? The DAO class we created, customer DAO, and we are calling that method add customer details. Okay. And for that, whatever you enter, that has been passed as a parameters. That will be passed as a parameter. So this we directly giving. So that is why it was throwing, even if that is error, it is taking here. Okay, but it has been caught in the exception. Exception has been caught. So instead of that, you should have created what? The error page.jsp. If there is an error, it should take you to error page, not this. Okay. So here we are invoking what? The DAO, the customer DAO. Here. So it is a same. Here we have a Hibernate code. We'll take these parameters, create a configuration object, the session factory object, session, transaction, all these things. Using setup methods, it will take the values whatever we entered in the form and we are setting it and we are saving the user. We are saving the user. The object name is user. Just look here. Previously it was what? E1, S1, P1. Instead of that, we created a user. That we're just trying to add. We're committing it and we're just getting this information. If you are getting any error, we're getting this message. Okay. So instead of that, e dot print. So this will give a detailed information. This will give the detailed information in the console in case if there is an error like that. Okay. So this is how we can use Hibernate in the what? In the web project. In the web project. What is the difference? Same thing we are done with the help of what? JDBC. All those things we are done in the help of JDBC. Instead of that, we are using Hibernate. The previous example also we had created customer DAO or whatever. Is it not? But there it was a JDBC connection. Now it is a Hibernate stuff. Then remaining same concept, whatever you learned in the JDBC example. The JDBC example. The rest are all same. The servlet, the customer, the model class, everything is same. Okay. So only problem was with the configuration file. The problem was with the, we had issues here. Okay, and this one, MySQL file dialect. After all, we are doing a single class. If you want to it, I don't want the model class. Or a customer program like that. Now, this is over matrix. Having the object-oriented programming language, you might using collections. You might using like one information, there are one number, the person right now, multiple numbers. You have to make a variable, you can calculate for this. Similarly, there might be association, there might be component, there might be functions of what? So, also map the class of practice. Single class of practice here the data. Classes or the analyst, this is the limited list. So how the data will be saved in the table. So for single class, one table is created. Okay. In another, how many classes will do that? Two classes, minimum two classes. So two tables has to be created. So we'll see that how it can be done. Okay. So first we'll see this collections mapping. So what does it mean? We are just trying to define a class with a set. So if an entity of a class has a collection of values for a particular variable, then we can write this values using any one of the collection interfaces available in Java. Okay. So I'm talking about just phone numbers. A person can have a number of phone numbers. So if you consider in table one column marks each value. But how it can store the multiple values? So for that we will see there is the Hibernate mapping. So first we will see this collection mappings. Okay. So you can all use all those things, whatever you learned in collections like map, then set or a list. So what is the difference between set and a list? What is the difference between set and a list? Set list can store duplicate values in a which order? In the same order which you have entered. But set can not have duplicates and it will store the data in random manner. And they will ask in the final exam. Difference between set and a list. So we'll see this. What is that? Which mapping was it? Collection mapping. No? Component. Manipulation. Want to find the existence. Okay, so we'll just create a new model class. We'll just create a new model class for collection mapping example with the name employee. Okay, with the name employee. Collection mapping demo. Okay, this is basically for the collection mapping demo. So I define a class same for the set of phone numbers. For set of a phone numbers, and I'll generate getters and setters. We're generating a getters and setters for this. So here we have a collection, isn't it? This is a collection. So what does it mean? I can store multiple values for this field. So we have a model class. So now we'll create a JSP file. Okay, we'll just try to create a JSP file for the same. So instead of doing servlet, I'll directly do in the JSP file. Got the point? So normally what happens in the previous example, we take an input, then process that in servlet, then the output is displayed in the JSP. Instead of that, directly I do it in a JSP for easiness and for doing it fast. Otherwise, it has to be processed in the servlet. Now, like that only we have to do that. Okay. But here we'll directly do a JSP file. Hmm? So collection mapping demo. Okay. I'll just create a new JSP file. Collection mapping. So here, how to write the code using scriptlet. Here you need to implement the scriptlet. Okay. Because what we write in Hibernate, it's nothing but a Java code. Whatever we write here now, it's a Java code. So we need to implement the Hibernate code within the scriptlet. So that's what you can just see here. Yeah. So before that, you can just check here. You need to import it because here when you're using JSP file, now it will not ask you for auto import. It will not give suggestions. So you have to import it separately. We need to import it separately. So I'll just add this. Okay. So only this you need to change. Model. What we are importing? Util, all the Hibernate packages and the configuration. Okay. So this we need to do. Hmm. The rest are all the same thing, whatever we have done previously in the code. Creating a configuration object. We need to write that within a scriptlet. Okay. Otherwise, you need to do the same way how we did previously. Same thing, people. Okay. This without creating a, what is that? Configuration session factory directly I'm initializing to the session. Okay, this also can be done inline. This is called as inline statements. So new configuration dot configure hibernate.cfg.xml dot build session factory dot open session. I'm writing it in a single statement. Previously it was what separate in 4 lines, was it not? So now we are just writing it in a single statement. Beginning the transaction, I'm just creating an employee object. I'm setting an employee ID. Okay, again we need to create a mapping file for this. We need to create a mapping file for this. Name. So phone number, just look, I'm just creating a hash set and we're adding 3 phone numbers. So Eric has 3 phone numbers. Yes, 3 phone numbers. And I'm setting that phone numbers in the setup through setup method. I'm just saving the employee. Okay. Previously, what I used to do directly employee.set phone number if it is a single phone number. But we are just creating a hash set and we're adding 3 numbers and we're setting the values for that. No. Okay. So set phone numbers. What is set phone numbers? It's a setup method for storing the hash set values. So 3 values will be stored under this, will be set under this. Okay. Employee data saved successfully. And we are using the query to get that details from employee. So, and we are displaying it. I'll show you that. We're getting the employee ID and employee name. But for displaying the phone numbers, again, we are using iterator. Why? Because he has what? Many phone numbers. He'll be having many phone numbers. So all these things, the concept of collections. All this is nothing but concept of collections. Till here it is Hibernate. Till here it is Hibernate. Okay. And you should be knowing how to set the values to the set. Before that, you need to create a set, add numbers, and that phone numbers is set as a value for the list, for the set. So we need to create a configuration file. So this also will use what? XML configuration only. So that's nothing but employee.hbm.xml. So we'll just create a mapping file for this. New Hibernate XML mapping file. We'll keep it empty. The name should be employee. You can use small letter or capital letter, not an issue. Okay, same thing you have to mention that in the Hyperweb SRC main resources. Employee.hbm.xml. Go to the source tab here and just add it. So make sure that you're adding the same package. New table will be created employee 200. Just look here. Assign. We are assigning, okay? Instead of identity, we are assigning. This is same. Employee name. Just look here. Phone numbers. Here I'm using set. We're using the previously we used property, is it not? Previously for the all the fields we use property. Now we are using a set. Why? Because it's a array list. Sorry, has set. So if you just see your employee.java, na, we have a set. So in the mapping file also we need to use set tag. Name equals phone numbers. So one more table will be created. Just understand, people. Here will be two tables created. So in the collection mapping, the two tables will be created. So individual phone numbers will be stored in another table. So one table is what? Employee 200. Another table will be employee phone. Okay. Inverse equals false. Lazy equals true. I'll explain this. So here you have employee ID. Then a new column will be created. Phone numbers. Okay. So this is for the whole set. Just set is opened here and here it is closed here. So we are just adding this set with the phone numbers. A new table is created. The key will be employee ID and their individual phone numbers. So two tables are created. Is information. These two will be in one table and this will be in separate table. Why? Because there are multiple values for the phone numbers. So that is why in the mapping file, we're given this set attribute and within that we have specified key and element tags for storing the values. So here lazy equals true because first employee table should be created. Then after that employee phone should be created. Why? Because it consists of information about the employees. So first it has to create, then it has to be created. That is why you are making lazy equals true. Means lazy means it should create late. Okay, that's a feature of Hibernate. Lazy loading. So now again I'll explain. We'll go here and we'll add the mapping resource as employee. So I need to run which file now? Collection mapping.jsp. Collection mapping.jsp. 49. Get phone numbers. 49. Yeah, just look, it was not saved properly. So I'm just refreshing. Okay. So data saved successfully. You can just see here 1017 Eric. He has three phone numbers. Okay. So we'll just try to change the values, people. We'll just try to change the values. So we could have used what? Scanner also here. We could have used scanner. Okay. Like this. I'll just again run it. Yes. This is of Eric and this is for James. And the phone numbers are totally different. The main thing is you need to check how the tables are created. How the tables are created. Two tables will be created. You can just see here employee 200 and employee phone. Okay. So first we'll say employee 200, the data. Employee and employee name is there. Only two things. So in employee phone, we have one more field. Okay. So you can just see here, what is this green symbol? It's a foreign key. It's a foreign key. So primary key will be always what? Hello. Hmm? So employee phone. So 1017. He has three phone numbers. You can just see now these details. This is for three people. The first employee. And this is for the second person. So why it created two tables? Because a person has three phone numbers, for example. So in one table, the first table it is storing the personal information. So 1017, his phone number is these three. Okay. So what kind of relationship is this? One to many. One person has many phone numbers. So in the previous example, there was only single class. Here also the class is only one. But the class is only one. But we have a collection. So of course, collection means it can store hold many values. Collection means it can hold many values. So of course, I cannot store this data in a single table. So for that reason, we'll be using collection mapping. So we have created this mapping file. So the first two properties we have assigned it. One is ID and there is a property field. So as it is a set with the name phone numbers, I am assigning a new table for that. Okay. And it should be created lately. First, this has to be created. Then this will have a key field called as employee ID. Then the element will be phone numbers. Will be phone numbers. Okay. So what is this phone numbers, people? The name of the column. But actually, the data type, the property is taken here. This phone number refers to which one, people? The set we created. So within that, we have that element. Yes. So we can do the same thing with the help of annotations. Here we are doing with the help of XML mapping. Okay. So is there any coding? No. We need to just add the set tag in the mapping file. We need to just add the set tag in the mapping file. So now two tables are created. One with the employee, another with the employee phone. So again here also the two tables are created automatically. Two tables are created automatically and we get an output. Just look here. For the first time when you are connecting to the database, it will take time. I mean to say previously. Once the connection is set, then you can go on executing all your code. I'm talking about hibernate.cfg.xml. Again, people, I'm telling All this sitting here, listening here, and just nodding is not enough. You need to work practically in the lab, or I don't know where you're working otherwise, using your laptop or etc. You need to understand how. Only thing is, okay, Java means you create a Java project, create one main class, you can execute. But here there are many files. That's it also I told you, right? That you should be knowing. So if you know that steps now, then you can get the code from anywhere. Is it not? Only thing is you need to note the steps or how to solve the errors. Now I got a Tomcat error. Okay, you need to clean the Tomcat, restart the Tomcat, exit, all that things I did. Then that MySQL file. So all those, everything is perfect, but still it is giving errors. So all those things you need to check out. That you should be knowing. So configuring and solving the errors. So in the console, you will get the error messages. In the console, you'll get the error messages clearly. Please read that when you get error. Okay. Yesterday, many of them are showing I'm getting error. I can't understand what is it. But when you see the read message, it is telling hibernate.cfg.xml not found. Is it not? So many got that error yesterday. But you do not read that in the first stage. Is it not? So when I said, okay, you found that. What was the mistake? Hibernate.cfg.xml was not in src main Java. It was somewhere else. So in the console, it was clearly telling hibernate.cfg XML file not found. But it is there in your project. It is not in the perfect location. It should be in src main Java like that. So in the console, you need to keep the, you need to read that. Okay. So there is one more thing that log files. We can also see the error message in the log files. Log files that I'll tell you in Spring. Okay. Now we just read it in a console when you get a error. Hmm? Yeah. Next. Component mapping. Okay. We'll go at 115 today. Hmm. You might heard about has a relationship, is it not? In Java, you might have done has a relationship. What is has a relationship? When you have an object as a property. When you have a object as a property in another class. Normally, what does a class consist of? Only primitive types. Object. Normally, class will have only primitive types, is it not? So we'll just try to do that. Hmm. So in the model, we'll just try to create a new class with the name student class. Okay. We'll create a new class, model class, which has these properties, which has these properties. Then I'm just generating a getters and setters. Source generate getters and setters. We have a class, student class. Okay, with the class ID and class name. Fine. I'll create one more class with the name student. We'll create one more class with the name student. We'll create one more class. Now just look at people. Here we have an object of another class. Means we are creating a has a relationship. It is also called as aggregation. Okay. So this is considered as a component. This object is considered as a component. So normally class will have what? This much. Normally a class will have this much. Is it not? But if you have an object of another class, then we call it as what? Component mapping. That is considered as a component. So of course, this object has what many properties? Means two properties, is it not? It has two properties. So of course, now how the data should be stored? Of course, again, there should be two tables. For example, I'm telling. Okay. So how to do that in this case? How the tables will be created? Again, the code will be same. Mapping file will be different. Okay. So I'll generate constructors using fields also here and generate getters and setters. Source generate getters and setter. So here we have these people. So why we are generate constructor using fields? So that I can initialize this object using constructor. Instead of that previous case, what we did? Yes, everyone listen here. Through setters. Here we are doing through constructors. So we'll just create a mapping file. We'll create a mapping file. SRC main resources. Students. So here we're just adding that component tag. Okay, here we will use the component tag as we did previously. Now here we'll be using the component tag. Again, no coding here. We just need to modify the XML file. Okay. We just look at people. It's all same. Here generator, I'm just giving identity. Generator, we are just giving identity. This is same first name, last name, roll number, age we are adding. But here now we are using the component tag. This is for component mapping. Just understand. Student class, name of the object, which is derived from the student class. Okay. We are adding properties. Class ID and class name. It is same but as a component. So within a class, we have a component and within that we have the same properties, whatever we have defined previously. So it has the class ID and class name. So two tables will be created. One is student 200. Sorry, it's only one table. One table only. We'll be having this an extra column. I'll just show you that. Only thing is we are just creating a component. Then just go to the hibernate.cfg, add the mapping resource as student, and we'll create a JSP file. We'll just create a JSP file. Component mapping. component mapping. From the collection, you just import this. You need to copy this. Okay. Here. So this has to be changed to student, comma, and we are just also importing which one? One more file. What is that? Student class. Okay. So just put comma, put enter and import the next package, whatever you want. So this double quotes is opened here and it is ending here like that. Again, directly we are using in the scriptlets. Okay. So here we need to generate a constructor using fields. There was error. And while you're doing in the lab, right, I'll be uploading the code in the cloud lab. Open this in the VS Code. Open this, whatever I'm sharing VS Code. From there, you just match it with your Eclipse. Okay, don't open individually. Open the full project in VS Code. Then you can just understand also the structure, everything you can understand. Yeah, just look here, people. While generating, listen here. The error was, just look here. Here, it is telling constructor not found. So in the mapping file, what we are given, in the mapping file, we are giving identity. For the student, we are just giving identity. You're not supposed to pass values for the ID field. So this is not required. This is the error. Got the point? We generate all the fields. You have to deselect the ID. The rest are all we need to generate. String, 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 string. Three strings of them. So this is actually the properties of another class. This is a property of another class. The main thing is we need to check how the tables will be created. Okay. Student 200. This is a new table created. Just look here. After age, we have this class ID and class name. Okay. The structure, you just look here. Student ID, all those things are fine. Because in the model class of student, it is just a object. It's an object. But it is creating a table with what? The fields of that class. Class ID and class name. So it's a single table only. This is one more beauty. Actually, it's a content of what? Other table. Class ID and class name. What are these? These are the fields of another class. We are done what is that? Aggregation or the component mapping. We have the fields here of that. So how is it happening? Because of because of yes. How is it happening? Because of what? This you should be knowing. Okay. The rest of all code is whatever I done previously. Only the mapping file we are making modification. If you see the previous example also. What was it? We used set tag. Now we are using component tag. Okay. So what is this? Has a relationship. So actually two separate class. We have a student and student class. Student has only this thing. But here we have a object or has a relationship or aggregation. And that has these two properties. So in the mapping file, we are at the component tag and we have specified the name of the class we want to map and we specify the properties. A new table is created, student 200, with the properties of this also. So we're displaying it. Okay. And this main class, the JSP file, it is same. What have we done? We're initializing the values through which one? Through constructors. Through constructors. Okay. So first we are creating an object of student class. First we are creating an object of student class, then student. Okay. Then we are just trying to save the student. So the third parameter, the last parameter is what? The object of, yeah, these are all Java. All these things are Java only. We have learned that. Okay, but we are saving the student object. When you save student object, it is saving this plus an object of. So because of the mapping file, because of the mapping you have specified here, it is saved in a same table, student 200. Okay, so I'm just adding the. Just look, I have saved it, but still it is not giving. Refresh once. Yeah, James is added here. James it added. Okay, but with a different ID. You're not getting error because it is identity. Because it is identity. I mean to say here. Just look here. It is duplicate. But ID is different. Student ID is different. Because I refreshed it twice. Now that's why I'm getting that. Okay. So James with a different ID is stored here. So class ID and class names are also stored. So this is what called as component mapping. What is component? When you have an object of another class, present class. So an application of another relationship. So the properties of another class also stored in a single way. As for the children class, we have two classes. So how to store the data? So how we can do that is a hibernate. Hibernate is what? Relation table mapping, isn't it? So the mapping file you have to use. So mapping is more into what is the XML. So you will go into analytics. Okay, that's the idea. And the people in software single file. Instead of a single access project, that was a separate file. Whatever we require today, this the full project are uploaded. Okay. Is that correct? Many of the universal, I want to about the fact that it's not the basically and so on the other. And creating a project. Because of creating a project, okay. 5 minutes, 5 minutes, that's all. One more than operating a project. Second one, I can hold it. Second one, I'm operating a project, I can solve that. Suresh.